Ma Chunk powwow and this beautiful exhibit here. I want to find out more information about it. It's very touching. And so we're doing just a little interview. And can you tell me your names and tell me what's happening here?
Yeah, I am Ink Eden, and this is Laura.
I'm Laura Bennett. I am the director and founder of the MMIW Grove that we're standing in right now.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, and we are at Ma Chung in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania for the Lenape Nation powwow.
Jim Thorpe, yes, beautiful town, Pennsylvania. And go ahead, just tell me about what I've already visited and I walked around. I was very touched by this. But can you tell me the things that people should know about this organization?
The MMIW Memorial Grove was founded back in 2019 to raise awareness about this unknown epidemic. So many people have no clue this is happening all over the United States, Canada. And so what we do is we work with the families. We go and we request permission from the families to honor their loved ones in the grove, to bring awareness to who they were and what happened to them. And then we also help the families in 5 different groups that include search and rescue groups and various other groups to raise funds for funeral expenses, for search and rescue, for things like anything that these families need. And we come out and we put a face to these victims. As you look at the dresses, you'll see a face and a name and an age of every single one in here. And this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. This is just a tiny drop.
So these are missing women?
Missing and murdered all over the United States.
Are you representing all tribes and indigenous
We're
nations?
represent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a little bit of every nation in here.
Okay. Can we walk around and explore a little bit? Or do you want to say anything else too?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is the awareness that this is really happening in our own backyards. It affects me, it affects our people directly, those who surround us, and a lot of the time within our cultures ourselves, we don't get to have enough discourse with each other. We don't get to unionize and really figure out together what we can do. So this is the seed to a much larger tree, and it's not just on the reservations. The East Coast hardly even has them. It's not just in Canada. And it's very personal to us. It takes a lot of effort from our hearts and confronting grief and also being able to find joy in that. So I feel like there's a much deeper aspect to this than just the awareness, than just knowing that it happens. And I mean, it's already grown so much so recently that I'm excited to see where it goes.
Gosh. So the red dresses, you chose the color red to represent this. Is there a reason why?
The red dresses in a lot of our nations, we believe that our ancestors can see the color red, and there's actually an explanation as you come in about why we chose that. This is the MMIW movement. This is our symbol. Do you have anything else you want to add about that?
I feel like red, not only can the spirit see it, not only can our ancestors see it, but it's what connects us to them. It's what runs through our veins, and it's also the color of the root. So not only do we have to stay grounded while we do this work, and the ability to really anchor ourselves so we can stay stable enough to do it, but it really flags what this means in a much more vibrant way than it would if this was just white and black as a memorial. So yeah, true to the heart.
It makes very much sense. Can we walk around a little bit?
Yeah.
Where would you like to go?
Just kind of look and see. Visible no more. I was noticing some of the slogans here. Here we say 5,712 Native women were reported reported murdered or missing in 2016. Now we've lost count. I almost started crying, so I paused when I was reading this. It's very much something that needs to be addressed, and really, this is a beautiful display. So go ahead and tell me more as we walk around.
I think this right here is very important because this is going to show you if you're a Caucasian victim. Look the media. Look at the media you're going to have.
I see. That's a great.
You see, absolutely. If you're Indigenous, that's what you're going to see more often. That's one of the reasons that we do this because we are not getting the representation that we need. So this is why that is so important.
Wow. I love your red comfort.
I love them.
Just a side note.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's see some more things here. And in the background, we have drum circle. They do the traditional dance, and people are dressed in traditional
Regalia.
regalia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what we're hearing in the background. There's an MC right now. But so here's one of the.
This is Amy Lynn. Amy Lynn was only 27 years old, the mother of 4, and she was murdered in Minnesota. And her killer has still not been found, which you're going to find probably at least 50% of the women in here, their killers have never been found or brought to justice yet. And some of them have been gone for a long time. So we just got to get it out there.
When we beat our drums together, we will shake the earth.
Not doing anything is never an option. The struggle for decency will never end. The struggle for justice will never end. The drumbeat of our people will never stop. Dennis Banks.
And Dennis Banks was one of the founders of the American Indian movement. And on our way out, you'll see that his own granddaughter was murdered, and she is in this circle with pictures of each of her children.
Okay, wow.
This is Haley. Haley was only 19 years old, and she was murdered back in 2021. So she's that's pretty recent, and her killers have not been found.
Oh.
May our missing mothers, daughters, sisters, aunties, nieces, and friends feel our breath on their faces from all of the 4 directions. May they inhale our love, capture our strength, and find their way home. May the ones in the spirit world watch over us and know they are missed.
This one is interesting right here. This is Tina Fontaine. She was 15 years old. She basically was the reason the MMIW movement started. This poor child went through the system and was lost in the system and then murdered. And many of the women in Manitoba rose up and said, we need to start doing something about this. But Tina is the reason the movement started. So she's always in our circle.
So that reminds me of, another whole factor is like the Amber's law and things that one girl started that entire movement.
Absolutely.
Of awareness to find somebody that's missing right now. Let's find them now before it's too late.
Absolutely.
So that's interesting.
And she was only 15. The poor girl had a rough life.
God bless you, Tina.
1 in 5 MMIWG cases occurred in regions near where the KXL pipeline is proposed to be built, an alarming reality. 69% of MMIWG cases occurred since 2000.
My goodness. Rest in power.
This is Cecilia. Cecilia, as you can see, was an Army vet. Her murder was finally solved, but she was Danae. And she was in her 60s when she was murdered, so it can happen to anyone.
Goodness.
This is powerful.
You paint her red. You paint her red every time you talk down to her. You paint her red every time you call her whore. You paint her red every time you dismiss her. You paint her red every time you hit her. You paint her red every time you manipulate her. You paint her red every time you make her feel like nothing. You paint her red until she disappears.
Hmm. Okay. That was very powerful.
by Candace Linkletter.
My heart is like seizing right
Uh-huh.
now.
Mine does that all the time.
11 years old. This is Ashlyn.
Ashlyn was at a carnival on the Navajo reservation with her little brother. They were coming home, and both of them were snatched off the road, and the little boy was able to get away. She was not, and she was found murdered a few days later at the age of 11.
Mhm. Okay. Jewish remembrance.
We remember them. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the water, we remember them. In the warmth of the sun and the peace of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. As long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. A Jewish remembrance.
That's always been touched our hearts a lot. We actually did have a rabbi come in when the very first time that I set up the grove, and they gifted me with that poem and asked me if I would like to keep it in the grove with us. So it goes with us everywhere.
Is there anyone else? I mean, we want to recognize everyone. There's a lot here. Is there anyone else that we should focus on a little bit? I know that you had told me that you have a couple original dresses that you would
The
that you make sure that
Faith Danielle Hedgepath. This was a dress that was donated by a family member. Faith was 20 years old when she was murdered in her college dorm. Her murderer was finally arrested recently, but it's been several years. Faith's family are huge advocates, and they work really closely with the Grove. She was everything to her nation. She was Halawasaponi, and she was training so that she could go back to work on the reservation to help her people in nursing and everything. And she was just amazing, and she was murdered. This is the other one that I wanted to show you. Dennis Banks that we spoke of back there, one of the founders of AIM. This is his granddaughter.
Okay.
She was murdered at the age of 32, and these are her 5 children that were left behind.
Oh my gosh.
And this sign right here is also very powerful.
Indigenous women have an 85% stronger chance of going missing, being murdered, becoming victims of sexual assault, rape, or other forms of violence I'm going to start this one over.
That's okay.
Indigenous women have an 85% stronger chance of going missing, being murdered, becoming victims of sexual assault, rape, or other forms of violence than we do of graduating from university, getting married, or having children.
This woman here, she was only 24. She was just murdered in 2023. She's from North Carolina. So many people don't realize how big a problem this is. And North Carolina, half of our dresses today are from North Carolina.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's am I next?
It's to make people
Powerful.
think. Yeah, make people think it could be you. It could be you. It could be your daughter. It could be your mother. It could be your grandmother. It could be anyone. So you need to be aware. You need to be out here. You need to be doing that, helping.
Why do you think that the Native American women are targeted?
It's not just women. A lot of it could be bigotry. The way that I explain it to kids when they come and they ask me what this is and why we have the dresses is that there are a lot of mean people in the world. There are a lot of bad people in the world who simply do bad things because that is what they feel like doing. And it's more about what we can do now, moving forward. So it affects women, especially because of the multiple marginalizations, one on top of another. I mean, not only being Native, but also being a woman. And who knows, maybe some of these women are disabled as well. If you're a mother, there's an additional marginalization in a way just because of what you have to carry with you. I myself am Two-Spirit. Two-Spirit people are the queer people of our culture, transgender, intersex, gay and lesbian, etc. It is specific to Indigenous folks, and we are among those who are doubly, triply, quadruply affected because of that stack of marginalizations. So it is also our sons, it is also our daughters, it is also our non-binary folks, and those of all ages. So we cater specifically to the children and the women and Two-Spirits because they have some of these peak marginalizations and the worst occurrences, especially given the hate that many of us received and the misunderstandings around what it takes to simply exist as we are. So while it is for everyone, and that's why we say no more missing relatives as well to cover the whole umbrella, we try to give special attention to those who otherwise would not be recognized properly within culture or without of it.
So there's definite vulnerabilities, and I you know, how someone can harm another human being is it just takes the mind into a place where you want this thing to heal, and you want people to heal and stop what they're doing.
Absolutely.
You know, that they're hurting anyone for any reason. So I'm just wow. I'm at a loss for words. I'm tripping over even what I want to say right now. But
Us too.
you definitely you definitely have such a good narrative on this. So
From experience.
Sister, mother, daughter, wife. She's someone. Isn't that enough? Where would you like to go next?
I would like to go here. These are our honor polls. These are 4 that we always honor in a special. This right here was Millie. Millie Old Crow was 8 years old. She was a beautiful dancer. She was actually murdered by her foster mother. And Millie was probably one of the most beautiful little spirits you could ever want. We bring a special bear out for Millie. And next to Millie, we have, this is one that you may have heard on the news, Vanessa Gillian. She was 20 years old. She was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. She was murdered and left in a river there. And we always have her army bear that we bring with her to every gathering. She was such a beautiful.
Probably because she was in the military.
It was another soldier that did it. That's exactly why, because she was in the military. And this is Rocinda Strong. Rocinda Strong was the very first woman that I put in the grove. I worked with her sister and her aunt. They're 2 of the biggest advocates out there now. They work tirelessly. Rocinda Strong was killed by 5 people.
Oh my gosh.
And they're finally going to trial. It has been, she was murdered years and years and years ago, and the trial has finally happened. And the family has to pay for the transportation to get there, to pay for their meal. That's what we're doing here. Raising money to help them get the justice that they need. And then we have one other special one here. This one is for all the women and all the victims who have not been found yet. These are for our sisters and elders and children and Two-Spirits that are missing, or that we may never know what happened to them. So this is a special dress and a bear that go with them. They're always out here on this pole.
This honor tree is for a special group of victims. This tree is for all the sisters, brothers, children, and Two-Spirits that can't be named. those that have gone missing and never found, those whose families have nothing left to remember them by, those who don't have pictures to display, stories to tell because they were taken and they were never able to say goodbye. While we may never know their stories, we can still offer our prayers, offer our support to those left behind, and vow we will never stop looking. Please take a minute and just pray for all of them. We just did.
That's one of our most powerful ones, because people don't realize that they may never find their relatives. They may never find out what happened. So in this dress here, we're honoring them the only way that we can, but we're not going to forget them.
Like the unknown soldier.
Absolutely. It's just like that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How important is this? I mean, it speaks for all the souls.
Absolutely.
And the spirits, and they're. I almost can feel these women here with you representing them, that they're still here. We're
Absolutely.
bringing them here, and I know the drum circle is about bringing the spirit into the gatherings
Mhm.
and things. So just it again, no words. I really appreciate you telling this story.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
And I want to show some of the things, the wares and things that you have to raise money for this organization.
Okay.